one we do a new movie review, and then we do a classic movie review. So,
something old and something new.
indeed. Yeah.
And let's see here. Daniel, your shirt is something blue, and
Something borrowed would be the other
let's
one.
see here. We didn't actually. We watched both of these on Paramount Plus, which means we're borrowing it from them.
Yes, there we go. There we go.
Man, Paramount Plus has still just been like, it's been such a useful tool for reviewing.
It has been, yeah. Well, I maintain it's because Paramount made a lot of really good stuff. Has made a lot of good stuff in its history.
Yep. Kind of a shame about some of their more recent history, but that's neither here nor there.
Yes.
Although, okay,
yeah.
so correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't Paramount the original distributor for the Avengers?
Yes.
I still occasionally wonder, what if we lived in the alternate universe where Paramount ponied up the extra money to outbid Disney for Marvel? Because like $4 billion in the grand scheme of things for an entertainment company isn't necessarily the most egregious amount. Like, what if they'd been able to come by and say 4.5 billion?
Yeah.
Because you know that Ike Perlmutter wasn't going to be like George Lucas and go, "Oh well, who'll be the best steward of my brand?"
Yeah. Yeah, that would have been interesting what they would have done with it. Yeah. They either would have done really well with it, or they would have screwed it up.
Yes, yeah, that's the question. Right, that's the question: is where did the rot set in, and did they require the resources of a Disney to do what they needed to do?
Right. Yeah. But yeah. So
I can tell
let's
you one thing they wouldn't have probably done.
yeah.
Probably wouldn't have released the Marvels.
Oh, that's true. That's true. They would not have released the Marvels. And speaking of, that's a good segue to our first topic here, the box office.
I do try. So,
Yeah.
last week's box office, there's a couple of interesting factoids that emerge.
Hmm.
First off, apparently Taylor Swift is roughly 4.5 times more popular than Beyonce, considering that Beyonce's concert movie came out to a 21 million to open the weekend, where Tease was all over there. Just
Yeah.
sounds completely cringy. Opened to 92 million.
Mm. Well,
Now, I will say, while I'm of the editorial opinion that Beyonce does not produce music so much as she produces beats with her repeating things over them,
yeah.
I will say that it's not like, at least in my experience, there like Swifty is like, I don't know, male feminist in terms of being a label you don't necessarily want on you,
Yes.
or at least it carries connotations at this point.
Yeah.
Like, being so obsessed that they crashed Ticketmaster.
Yeah.
I think 2 years ago at this point, or a year and a half.
Yeah, and yes, and they caused Chris Gore to go on a rant on his show.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, like, ruining his movie because they were watching their movie.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm not entirely surprised that Beyonce only got a fraction of it, but man, movie theaters are like, oh, come on, this was going to be the thing to make up for no one wanting to see the Marvels or Wish.
Yeah. We'll just put Godzilla in more screens. That'll solve it.
We'll do the Godzilla concert.
Yes.
All of Godzilla's greatest hits, like The March from Godzilla and Godzilla by the Blue Oyster Cult,
Yeah.
and the Washington regional parody song that I have been told exists, but I've never been able to find online, Godzilla ate Tequila. Just a city around here.
Yeah. Ooh.
Anyway,
Yeah.
back to serious analysis. Okay, so We also don't know what the deal Beyonce got with AMC compared to what Taylor Swift did.
Right. Yeah.
Actually, why speculate? 1 second.
All right.
I'm going to open up a Fandango in the other window,
My
and
guess
I'm
is
going
it's
to.
probably similar to what Taylor Swift got.
Yeah, like Taylor Swift, when we looked it up, it was like one and a half, like, no, like roughly 1.8 to twice what you got or what the normal ticket was.
Hmm.
So if I wanted to go see Beyonce at 7 o'clock today,
Yeah.
how much would that be? Well, there aren't all that many seats taken so far, which is interesting.
Mm.
Which I guess for a Thursday night isn't too surprising.
Yeah.
Okay, $22.66. Yeah, that's special ticket pricing. So sorry, Beyonce.
Yeah.
Taylor is roughly 4.5 times more popular.
Yeah.
Or at least she has fans who are roughly 4.5 times more popular to want to go see her in a movie concert thing.
Yes. uh, but yeah, it it doesn't really surprise. Yeah, I guess it doesn't surprise me that much that Beyonce and doesn't have that as much popularity. If this was like 20 years ago, I would have said,
Yeah, maybe even 10 years ago.
yeah, maybe even 10. Yeah, it would have done a lot better.
Yep. Oh well, free money.
Yeah.
Now, people who have watched us for a while will know that over the summer excuse me, over the summer we had um, the movie that people were discounting in the form of Elemental, which had an absolutely abysmal opening weekend and then legged out to roughly just shy of 500 million worldwide.
Hmm. Still lost money, but
Yeah, like I was about to say, with the ridiculous budget it had,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but it would, they can hold their head high.
Hmm. Yeah,
I and I think part of the reason it held on there was that what else was there to take your kids to that, that summer?
yeah.
Because they moved the Marvels to the fall
Right.
out of some delusional hope that some reshoots and re-editing could make it better, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. It swapped with they swapped release dates with the Haunted Mansion.
Which I still say that the Haunted Mansion would have probably done better if it had actually come out around Halloween.
Yeah, as opposed to July.
Yeah, I can't really think of any kids movies that were out in the summer.
Well,
I
you
think,
had we had Ninja Turtles was late in the summer.
yeah,
Um,
I guess some people consider Barbie a kids movie, though. Having seen it, I don't think it's really kid appropriate at all.
yeah, yeah. Trying to think. Yeah, I can't think of really too many. There wasn't a Minions movie, was there?
No, that was last summer.
Right, right. And then of course Mario was in March.
Right. So Mario was like still at like the discount theaters and such, but
Yeah,
it was largely done.
yeah.
Anyway, I bring this up because I think that the Hunger Games is our elemental of the winter season
Mm,
because it opened up to a not amazing box office, but it's it's got legs.
yeah. I wonder if word got out that what's her Rachel Ziegler isn't really the star of the movie. So people are like,
Yes.
"Oh, well, I guess I could go see this movie."
What's interesting is if you look at the movie poster here, even the movie poster has the guy who plays Snow up front and center.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're already at 2.8 times legs, so after 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So yeah, well done, I guess. I mean, actually, it passed the test of somebody at work had seen it and he said it was good.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
that means that people are actually going to see this thing.
Yeah. Which I mean, if you want to sit through an almost 3 hour Hunger Games movie, I mean, go right ahead. It's not for
Uh,
me, but you know,
well, let me ask you the devil's advocate question.
okay,
What else is there to see?
that's true.
like, let's before we get into some numbers here, let's run down the list here. So we've got a Japanese foreign language film, an excellent Japanese foreign language film, but
Hmm.
I think the choice not to have a dub option is I don't know. I feel like it's it was a ultimately a mistake.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, because not everybody likes going to subtitles or reading subtitles.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm thinking of some people I know, like um, uh, people with bad vision,
Hmm.
people who don't read English well.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like as much as the sub is the original version, it's like the option needs to be there.
yeah,
Anyways,
yeah,
so you got a Japanese foreign language movie. You've got a pretty mindless trolls kids movie.
yeah.
Actually, let's look at this from the perspective of, let's say you're an adult type person who wants to go see a movie.
Hmm.
So we'll just cut out anything that's kiddie. So your options are a Hunger Games prequel, and if you're an adult, you probably saw at least one of the original movies.
Yeah,
You've got a Disney movie, which those are usually more four quadrant, but
yeah,
everyone you know is telling you that's bad.
yeah.
Napoleon is longer than Hunger Games,
Hmm.
and you might have heard people say, "Yeah, it's basically a chick flick with like his relationship with Josephine."
Yeah. And her wife's boyfriending her, or
Yeah,
boyfriending him.
yes. Um, then you've got Animal, which I want to say is a Bollywood movie.
Yeah, like Bollywood or Tollywood.
Yeah, yeah. Which then gives you probably the same problem as the as Godzilla Minus One.
Hmm.
You got the Shift, which is a weird alternate, like weird multiversal version of the Book of Job set in a dystopia,
Yeah, yeah.
which
From
sounds interesting at least, but
yeah, it does. It's from Angel Studios who put out the Sound of Freedom. Yeah,
yeah. But unlike The Sound of Freedom, which was produced by Fox and then shelved by Disney, so it's actually like super high grade, actually like reasonable size Hollywood production. This
yeah,
is an Angel Studio joint, so I've
right.
heard that not that I expect quite the same production values.
Yeah,
But then you've got a Thanksgiving movie, which horror isn't necessarily everybody's game.
yeah,
You've got the Marvels, which it's in its fourth week, so by now you've either seen it or you've heard people at work say it sucks.
yeah, yeah,
Which instantly, the same person who went to see the Hunger Games said the Marvels sucked.
yeah,
Um, and then you've really just got a bunch of Oscar bait,
yeah,
like Saltburn, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon.
yeah. Priscilla. Yeah,
Yeah. So, like, it's really kind of the option where I want to say this thing is PG-13.
yeah. It's PG-13. Yeah,
So it's like, okay, you can take your kids to it if they're of a certain age and maturity level. You probably know what a Hunger Games is.
hmm,
I think it's gotten decent word of mouth, and I've heard like reviews are mixed, but they're not like, oh, this is the worst thing ever.
yeah,
I remember a Film Threats review of it was mostly like positive-ish,
yeah,
and like they didn't have any ill will towards the movie at the end of it.
yeah, yeah.
So
And yeah, Gore said it was kind of like the origins for the bad guy Snow, and it's sort of like with Revenge of the Sith, kind of.
yeah,
Yeah, his descent to evil.
so yeah, I think that this movie is going to be the beneficiary of a lack of options for that particular demographic.
Hmm. Sort of like what Avatar was last year.
Right.
Yeah.
Mixed with also, I gotta say, from what I've heard, Avatar 2 has not charted on streaming services at all.
Hmm.
That, I'd have to double check that. I just recall somebody saying that in a stream I was watching, which kind of to me implies that Avatar is just a purely theatrical brand, which is interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it. Well, if you look at it, I mean, just looking at the clips that I've seen, it's like, okay, yeah, that would probably look really good on a movie screen. I'm sure it did look great on a movie screen or an IMAX, and yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, I understand why people don't necessarily want to see it at home.
yeah,
But continuing down. Um, oh, by the way, Hunger Games: Song of Songbirds and Snakes is not sniffing Jennifer Lawrence's boot right now in terms of box office.
that's true. Oh, yeah,
So, like that's kind of where it's also the elemental, where it's plugging away, but it's like you started from a lower place than people were probably hoping.
yeah,
It's just that, well, also Lionsgate had the smarts to make this thing for 100 million instead of 200 to 300 million.
right, yeah,
Although the economy king goes to Godzilla Minus One.
hmm
What I hadn't realized was that this thing was only supposed to be in American theaters for 1 week originally,
mm.
according to what I saw on Twitter, which, take that grain of salt. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
they decided to extend it because of just how good of a response this is.
yeah,
This is one of the best openings for a foreign language film in the US,
mm.
if not the best. It's definitely the best for a Japanese language film that isn't an anime.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah,
And the thing only cost 15 million to make, so you're very close to some real profitability.
yeah, yeah. I think it will make some money. Yeah,
Yep. Well, and plus it just has the advantage of being a Godzilla film, which means that just forever you're going to have a certain segment of the population that will go back and revisit it occasionally.
hmm yeah,
But just the fact that it's a damn good movie on its own right. Like, you feel good when you hear people that you think are smart saying things like similar to what you think too.
yeah,
I was watching the Critical Drinker, or I was listening to the Critical Drinker while I was working earlier. Eh, I didn't actually watch his review, but I was listening to his podcast with Mahler and all those guys.
yeah, yeah.
And somebody said this could have been a movie about fighting off a typhoon or dealing with a natural disaster
Mm.
or something like that, and it would have worked exactly the same. It's like, yes, thank you. It's you have a human plot and the bones of a plot that are enhanced by having a kaiju, but don't require a kaiju.
Yeah.
That is ironically how you make a kaiju movie. Is you
Huh.
have to actually have, like in my opinion at least, you actually. Okay, so I enjoyed Godzilla versus Kong from a couple years back,
Mhm.
but it's a very different type of enjoyment than Godzilla Minus One.
Yeah.
Like if you took all the kaiju stuff out of Godzilla versus Kong, you'd probably have a half-hour boring movie with Marvel or Transformers grade human acting and jokes.
Jeez. Yeah.
So like if you want high octane kaiju action, you're good.
Mm. Yeah.
But this is actually like a story, so that's refreshing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always good to have something that's interesting in a movie like that. Yeah.
Yep. Rounding out the rest of our top 10 are some familiar faces. We got Trolls hanging in there. Wish in its second weekend dropping 60% off of an already bad
Mm.
opening weekend.
Yeah.
The the Wish.com version of a Disney animated movie, like they're little legit people are. It's apparently so generic and badly written that people are legitimately wondering if an AI was used to write part of this movie. Because there's plot points that go nowhere. The "I Want" song from the girl, like nothing actually seems to be that wrong with her life.
Oh,
The,
jeez.
the villain's plan, like to steal people's wishes to power the kingdom, like only one person is mildly sad that their wish was stolen, and everyone else seems okay with it. Just the more I hear
Wow.
about this movie, the worse it gets.
Jeez. Man. Ooh. Yeah. Yeah. Well, from everything we've been hearing, the production of this movie, that movie was a disaster. And
Yeah, that
yeah,
that reminds me, I need to go to Film Threat to read some of the articles that Alan's been putting out.
yeah, yeah.
Sounds juicy.
Yes.
Let's see here. Continuing on down our list, we got Napoleon. We've already set our piece on that.
Mhm.
Um, the Shift, Animal,
Yeah.
Silent Night. We already just kind of brushed over those, and that's.
Yeah.
And then we got Thanksgiving. Hey, you know what movie is not in the top 10 anymore after a month?
The Marvels.
The Marvels. And now it's interesting. Now Daniel sent me a thing from Variety where so they're still going to be showing the Marvels through the end of the year, at least it sounds like,
Mm.
most likely, but they aren't going to be reporting box office for it anymore.
Ugh. Yeesh.
Which I wonder if that takes effect this weekend. I guess we'll know next week
Hmm.
because I'm still like the numbers is still reporting daily box office for it.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, it's probably start the next weekend, I guess, because
Eh,
it's
Or it's possible, and I've never been. Have you ever considered how weird it is that we have such exacting box office figures and have for decades?
yeah. Yeah, they must have some way to track those sales.
Right. Well, I more mean when you like think about like a big picture view, like how many industries do you know down to the dollar what they made? It's not like when a new video game comes out, there's the video game reporter reporting that
Yeah.
oh Baldur's Gate 3 sold X 5,274 copies this week, and in its second week it dropped down to 100,000 or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
Like you have to use proxies and estimates and relative sales on the charts and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. There must be something in the history of the box office that where this is required.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I guess I'm saying is maybe if Disney isn't reporting it, maybe the theaters are reporting it somehow.
Mm.
So I guess we'll see how that goes. But yeah, they're ending this box office run with less than $200 million.
Ooh, man, that's
Now it
just yeah.
that's better than fellow superhero movie Blue Beetle. At least I think it is. Let's find out.
Yep.
Yeah, Blue
Yeah.
Beetle
Blue
only made
Beetle.
128 million,
Yeah.
but not that much more domestically.
No, it didn't. Yeah. That's wow.
Cons- Considering this is a movie that made a billion and change a few years back.
Yeah. Well, of course,
And
Captain Marvel made a billion because they did the whole bait and switch, where it's like, oh, you have to know what happens in Avengers Endgame. You need to watch this movie, and we didn't need to know.
nope, nothing of value gained except for knowing who this woman who quote Thor likes.
Yeah.
Um, but it also underperformed Flash, which is
Eesh.
which the Flash at least managed to edge its way over 250 million worldwide.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh man.
let's see here. Other movies that outdid the Marvels. We've got Elemental.
Hmm. Yeah.
Indiana Jones did roughly twice as good as the Marvels.
Oh man.
Ant-Man, I think, did. What was Ant-Man's opening weekend? Ant-Man Quantumania.
Ant-Man was better than
Ant-Man was like on par with
100,
Elemental.
yeah, 106.
Yeah, so Ant-Man made more in its opening weekend than the Marvel's entire domestic run.
Oh man.
Um, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Mm. Guardians. If Guardians didn't have a very good. Okay, 118 million opening
I
weekend, but
forgot it. I had this. I had it in my mind that Guardians had a worse opening weekend than Ant-Man did, but I guess not.
yeah, I thought so too. But that's another movie that legged out. Um,
Yeah, and you know, better than any two of the movies we've been talking, or most of the two movies we've been talking about put together.
yeah,
So, yeah, we did a whole video about why the Marvels failed, but it's a kind of embarrassing footnote that you're going to stop reporting your box office out of shame.
yeah. Ooh, man.
It's kind of like the moment in the last console generation where Microsoft announced they're going to stop reporting annual Xbox sales because Sony was whipping them.
Oof, man.
It's like, yeah, you wouldn't be hiding those if they were good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But oh well.
Yeah.
So I guess we won't have the Marvels to kick around anymore? Question mark. So
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see what effect this actually has on the reporting. And you know
Yeah.
what? Hey, Warner Brothers, like I suggested last week during our Scott Pilgrim review, uh, have have Brie Larson do an Envy Adams like character as the villain for the next Barbie movie.
Yes.
She is very good in that role. She actually does have talent as much as Captain Marvel sucks as a character. Nobody could have made that character likable.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. Well, maybe what's her name? From Battlestar Galactica, the blonde.
Wasn't she like the one who was the alternate they were considering?
Yeah, they were considering her Katie Sackhoff.
Not familiar with her, but probably more charismatic.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, she is.
Just
Yeah, she played she's Bo Katan in the Mandalorian.
okay.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yep. So yep. So I guess that's our last. So yeah. So box office trends. Bad time to be a movie theater.
Yeah.
Hope, I mean, part of the reason they've been able to expand Godzilla this weekend is what else do they have to show?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,